couple of things that we really want to try to avoid is shouting at the children because for one, that's a lot of stress on everybody, and for two, we ain't trying to lose no voice up in the house, and for three, it pretty much like puts more fear than anything versus trying to get your point. So the other thing that we also try to avoid when we try to discipline the children is pretty much being inconsistent with how we are disciplining them. So we don't want to uh, at one point give discipline a child like, hey, since you didn't, clean your room or do this, you will have to, no games for like a week or whatnot. And then, you know, the next parent will come back in and be like, oh, if you just get it done today, you can get back in games by the end of the day, type of deal. So there's no consistency between or how we like to discipline things. So really what me and my wife do is that we will pretty much talk about how we want to discipline them for one. We pretty much want to make sure that they understand why they're getting the disciplinary action and disciplinary action like we're going to being consistent about how we discipline them. So we just want to make sure. So what me and my wife will do is we will pretty much talk it out as far as like how we want to go about this. It's like, well, this is what's been going on. This is what's happening. This is what he's doing. How we're going to, make sure that we get the point across that this can't happen no longer. We need to follow up with what we say we're going to do as far as like how we're going to discipline them. So after we talk things out, we'll pretty much go and be like, okay, so who's the one that's pretty much going to give them the disciplinary? So usually it's me because I'm a stay-at-home dad, so I'm always the one. Well, I'm usually the one I would say that will talk to the kids as far as like how to discipline this, what's going to happen with their, how we're going to discipline them. So I'll go in and I'll talk to them as far as like, okay, this what's going to happen. Um, like you're going to get, this is what's going to happen because you didn't do this, and since you couldn't do what I asked you to do, we're going to have to take this away from you, or you're not allowed to do this for a certain amount of time. And it's not no crazy amount of time, like a month or something like that. It'll probably be like, depending on the severity of whatever happened, it can be up to a week, or will take something away, or if they really start getting out of hand around like birthday and Christmas time. I don't know why. It's like in their subconscious. They just get out of hand for some reason. But we'll be like, all right, well, we're going to take some gifts away, or we're not going to get you this gift you've been asking for because why would we when you're not doing what we are telling you to do, and you're not proving that you deserve this type of thing. So it's pretty much going into like, it's almost like an unwritten verbal, it's like a verbal contract. If you do something for me, I'll make sure that you get the things that you're asking for, things of that nature. So it's pretty much like the parent child verbal disciplinary agreement or something like that, whatever you want to call it, patent if you want. Make sure you send me my money. So uh just staying consistent with the disciplinary, just staying consistent with how you would like to discipline the children, and make sure you and your wife or your significant other or your partner are on the same page with it. Because even if the parents are co-parenting and the children are not under the same house, you can't have your children going to different households, and whatever the action that they might have done to get in trouble, and under this household is different, and this household is like not as strict, or this household's too strict, this household's not strict enough. Now you pretty much have this inconsistency, and it's going to pretty much have this divide between the children and the parents as far as like who would they prefer to stay with, because they know they can get away with a lot more over here versus over here. And I don't know which parent is doing what, but that's just something that needs to be worked out between the parents. And is it can pretty much save everyone a lot of headache. So now I came up in a time, I would say right around physical punishment, corporate punishment, what they call it, was starting to become a problem where it wasn't too much of a problem because pretty much the parents gave teachers permission to be like, hey, if my child gets out of hand, you can whip my child. That's pretty much how it was pretty much going about. So we, you want to say hey?
Yeah.
Say hey.
Hey.
Say, how's everybody doing?
I didn't say.
Can you say, can y'all please subscribe?
Yeah, to subscribe.
And like.
Like.
And share.
Share.
The video.
A video.
For daddy.
Daddy.
So daddy can buy you what you want.
This is that. Hamburger is this. Is that.
So I can buy her some hamburgers. Okay, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, go lay down. I came up in a time where physical punishment was pretty much a somewhat common thing, and we know when kids got whooped when they come to school, or and they be like, yeah, I'm a little upset. They can't sit down too long, or they know that if they see their teacher and teacher already do some hand up one good time, kids be flinching. So so I think that was like a way of really keeping a lot of the kids in line, because um words, I guess, in that time didn't really hold as much weight as it could now. And it's pretty much an old school.
Red.
Okay, I'll change in a minute. So I feel like there was an old school way style of parenting that involved some type of physical punishment. Now, as far as like my children, I don't use physical punishment in that way. The much the physical punishment you're gonna get out of us, it's like I'll probably flick them on the finger or something like that, because it's probably something to be quick and be like, hey, don't touch that, or you shouldn't mess with that, because it's gonna hurt. My finger hurts, so it'll pretty much just get their attention real quick. It's like, hey, you shouldn't do that, okay? And that's about as much as physical punishment that you'll get out of me. So but I think some of the other physical punishment that I have seen has been of using exercise of some sort. So like making your children do like 100 push-ups. They have to run a mile or something like that, or have to run around, or they have to do jumping jacks, or they have to sit in the seating position up against the wall. To some parents, I think that it's something that works, and for some it may build character, and for some it's more like it's still in the children that, hey, I don't want to have to do this, so I'm gonna make sure I'm not gonna either not want to get in trouble, or they feel like they, I don't know. I think sometimes I don't know if the children will purposely get in trouble just so that they could do the exercises. I don't know if that's a thing, but we'll move on from all that. But certain types of physical punishment I feel like would be categorized as abuse, and that's, I think, what people are starting to get along the lines of want to avoid. And I pretty much understand that now in today's society, that if you were to just start whooping your children, of anything, and then the kids start going to school and saying that, hey, yeah, my mom or my dad beat me or got a whooping, is what they used to say, but they got a beating, and then teachers report it, parents get in trouble for child abuse, and now it'll become a big thing as to why did the parent have to resort to this style of punishment in order to get their point across to their children. And that's not always the case as far as like what you have to do as far as like punishing your children, it doesn't always have to be physical. And with with me, I think that I have learned to be more relatable to my children and what their decisions have led them to, and me understanding that, helping them to understand that, hey, this is what can happen if you continue to do this, and if you continue to do this, this is not going to pan out as well as you would like for it to. So we need to get your stuff together, get it together, because I don't want you to be, I guess, in this situation and I'm not around, and you are unable to either correct it, get out of it, and pretty much put yourself in a situation that you won't make it out. So I think that's one of the main fears that parents have as to why they resort to some type of discipline or punishment. And I think it comes from some type of fear as to what they don't want to happen to their children. So I just want to make sure, I would like to make sure that parents are they have their intentions in a good space, and it's coming from, I want the best for you, and I'm doing this so that you can grow and come mature, so that you're prepared for what is to come that the world will, will challenge you with. And it the world's ever changing, so we don't know what type of next level disciplinary action is going to come from, you know in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. So there's so I don't have to, I don't want to go too deep as to the other resources that you could potentially have to use if, uh well, I would say for us fathers, if we are unable to find ways of discipline our children, or if we're having trouble to connect with our children as to getting to understand why we are taking these disciplinary actions, or this type of punishment for their child's actions. And there are, well, I don't have the list on me, but you can look up, find the support groups. You can seek professional help, or you can find books that may talk about what, how you can discipline effectively in your household, or find ways as to what will work with your children, and how it will, how it will, and how you were able to get your point across to them. So it's a lot of just throwing stuff to the wall and hoping stuff stick. So if I haven't already said before, my wife, she had her son before we had got together, and I pretty much stepped into, a father, uh, right off the bat when me and her got together. The way that we went about disciplining him was that she was amazing for doing this. So she pretty much was like, she understood who I was, because we were good friends even before she even had her son, long before she even had him. So it wasn't someone brand new that I just happened to know and then I just got together with her. No, I knew her before then. So she already knew the type of person I was and my character and how I carried myself. So she wanted that for him. And we pretty much, well, she pretty much just was like, I trust your decision and how you want to discipline him, because I want him to be just like you. And, that's pretty much, the keys to the car. Let's go, type of deal. And I know for some guys, that's something that they will never do, and that's fine. Stick to what you believe. I'm gonna stick to what you know what you want to do. So, you know but I'm just saying that for her to trust me with her son that's not my biological child yet, but she wants me to be a fatherly role model for her son. And I was fine with taking on that responsibility because I've been a counselor. I've had to, lead groups of children for work, and it was pretty much a a role that I was comfortable with stepping in. So me taking on that responsibility into saying like, okay, uh, it's pretty much a test run for me as far as like stepping into this role. It's like, okay, I'm 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 the father figure for him, and I just want him to pretty much grow up in my image, and I just need him to know that I'm looking out for his best interest. I'm not here to hurt him, harm him, and I think it first starts with building up the relationship. Being comfortable with each other, being able to open up to one another, being vulnerable, because these things are really essential to building that bond that a father and a son can can build into, and it don't even have to be blood. And I'm pretty sure anybody in this world can understand that. We pretty much have relationships with other people who are not our blood, and we would consider them more of a family member than our own blood family members. So just keep that in the back of your mind as far as like how can you trust this person, obviously probably that you've known for years versus your own blood, you know so don't just necessarily say that you can't take on someone else's responsibility because they didn't. I mean, it's just you know blasphemy. But building a bond is very important, I would say, and being relatable is also important. So being able to understand those two things as to how you want them to understand that, hey, I was there before. I made this same mistake you're making now. Don't make that mistake again, because it's probably your first time making this mistake. Understand this is what's going to happen if you continue to do this. All right. And explaining the disciplinary action as to why they're receiving it is also another way. You don't just say, you're gonna lose everything, or what are you gonna lose, blah 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 blah, and that's just what it is. No explanation, uh, no reasoning, no pretty much no. You don't even know if you give them a time frame. You just said it and then it's done, and that leaves a lot of confusion. That leaves a lot of uncertainty, and it pretty much leaves some doubt as to you know the kids start wondering like I don't listen to him because he don't even really stick to what they say or whatnot. So when you start losing the trust from your own children, you're pretty much just trying to scramble around trying to find something to hold on to at this point. So this help with explaining and relate to the situation at hand, and just be vulnerable. It's okay. I had to do that numerous times with my younger son and my older son. If you haven't already, go check out the Healing Buddy with Miss Dina on her podcast that I did, and watch the episode because I talk about why being vulnerable is okay with your children, and I talk about how my younger son, he's pretty much the sensitive one out of the four, and he's always coming up to me to ask for hugs, and I could be uh, giving him a punishment for something that he might have did, and he will be upset. He's gonna pout about it. He's gonna go upstairs in his room. He's gonna lay in his bed. He's gonna be upset for a minute, but 10, 15 minutes later, he'll come back downstairs and be like, "Dad, can I have a hug?" And you just have to give him that hug. I mean, don't hold no grudge against your children, and that's just weird to me. It's, that's your child. Don't hold no grudges to your children. Um, it's I just want to make sure that I'm setting the right example for them, and I hope that I am putting forth the effort and they see it, and I hope that I'm able to grow this platform that I'm trying to create, especially for fathers, because it's needed in the community and we need to be involved and we need to step up. So, to all the fathers out there, don't be afraid to be vulnerable. It's okay to be relatable, and just help your children walk through the same experiences that you might have been through so that they can learn and grow and mature and become more mature in their decision making, because if they don't learn it from you, their father, or some type of male role model, a father figure, who are they learning this stuff from? And to some people, it's gonna be scary to figure out who are they learning this from. It could be from TV. It could be somebody in a local community who you wish they don't associate themselves with, or it could be, you know, someone from school, or they just don't have no one to turn to. So who do they? They're just lost, and you don't want that for your children. So, in conclusion of this episode, I'm going to have to give a shout out to
Oh, hi, Slap. Oh, hi, Kate. Are the results? What?
I'm gonna have to give a shout out to Jaden for making up his bed this morning.
Oh, stop it.
No,
How many reveal?
I'll have to give a shout out to
There's a reveal.
Jaden because he told me that he has all A's, maybe one B in all his classes so far with school. I'm proud of him. Keep up the good work. And we'll see who gets next shout out on the next episode. Until then, y'all make sure y'all do what the girl said earlier today. Subscribe, like, share the videos, and hope to see y'all soon.